I'm Joshua Parker, known as DJ Parker, and this is Unique Beatz Studio. You're here for another Parker radio show.
Hey everybody, let's go. I'm hoping that you're ready for another episode. You know we play that music in the UB studio. And now it's time to welcome everybody to the Parker radio show. Everybody, let's go. I'm hoping that you're ready for another episode. You know we play that music in the UB studio. And now it's time to welcome everybody to the Parker radio show.
How we doing out there, everybody? We're here for another Parker radio show, here live at Unique Beatz Studio. With special thanks to our nation's finest, thank you for your service. Want target relief fast? Now you can enjoy the best-selling One Less CBD Tropical Inflammation Cream. Get yours for free, plus shipping. Limited time offer. Go to www.onelesscbd.com/UB radio. Welcome back to another episode of the Parker Radio Show. It is September 20th. I want to say, I woke up today feeling so great. Got a few things accomplished this morning, and, things have been very challenging here within the last couple months. I want to just give a big shout out to the people that helped us along the way. Thank you all for your continued support. Feel free to follow us on all social media platforms. Give us a subscribe there on YouTube. Simply comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Kind of engage. We love to interact with our listeners and our followers. I want to give a big shout out to Jill with Nashville Entertainment Weekly, helping us out these last couple years with all these amazing artists that we air with her record label here on the Parker Radio Show, powered by Unique Beatz. We got a special guest today, hailing all the way from Texas. Let's give it up for David Carr Jr. He was first picked up his saxophone when he was 12 years old, born July 9th in Denver, Colorado. His family moved and settled in Oklahoma when he was still young. He grew up in Oklahoma, helping out his family farm, and by the time he was 14, David was playing alongside his dad around Oklahoma City. The best advice David says to his dad ever gave him was early on when he was struggling to master the sax. David Sr. said, "Just worry about getting the tone. The notes will come." Young David heard the words his dad told him, took them to heart, and soon had that smooth, beautiful tone that he will still hear today. David's sound and style is unique and difficult to confine to any one genre. The roots are jazz, but there are aspects of funk, rhythm, and blues, and occasionally a bit of energetic element that defines any label. David's first music release was a very limited cassette single, With an Angel on top of The One, in 1993. David has released more than a dozen titles over the years, the first full-length being Sounds of Innocence, released in 95 on a compact disc and a cassette. After Sounds of Innocence came into deep pre-release limited edition CD and final release double CD, I Thought You Knew, DCJ4. Who's in there? The fan requested. Long-awaited holiday melodies embraced CD and companion live performance DVD. In 2019, there was assorted press release, limited edition, and CD singles here and there throughout. David graduated high school in 1978 and joined the United States Marines. After basic training, David was assigned to the Marines Corps Band. After leaving the United States Marine Corps, David joined the Jokers Wild Band in 1980, a 10-piece top 40 R&B band performing around Oklahoma. In 1984, David found the funk jazz band Prelude, and in 1985 moved the act to Dallas. After a time, David felt the need to leave a cover band limitations and began writing his own music. By the early 90s, David was mainstay around the Dallas area, Fort Worth metropolitan, and a key performer at the historic Strictly Taboo in 1954 to 1999. One of the oldest jazz clubs in Texas. David continues to perform solo and with his band around North Texas, Oklahoma, and points between. In 2021, David was inducted into the Oklahoma Blues Hall of Fame. Let's give a big warm welcome to David Carr Jr. with his song Groove Edition here on the Parker Radio Show, powered by Unique Beatz. Groove. Let's start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you came to love music.
I was a kid and I would watch my dad kind of practice around the house. He was a tenor saxophone player. And I thought that was fascinating. And then I actually accidentally caught him playing live one afternoon. Back in the day, they did what they called matinees, where gigs like early in the afternoon, like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. They called them matinees. And my dad was running late. This was in the 70s. And so he had to pick me up from school. And he had to take me with because he didn't have time to drop me off. So he just took me with him to where he was playing. He was always running late for everything. That's just how he rolled. And he walked in, and I heard the band playing, and they're cooking, and the place is packed, and they're in there, and he's big old 6'8" black man with this dashiki on, and goes in there, sits me down. The place is noisy. People were checking out the band. The band's playing, and he has a waitress hand me a Coke or an orange juice or something. And as he pulls his tenor saxophone out of the case, he proceeds to destroy the entire building when he started playing. It was crazy. So I thought, okay, that I gotta have it. I got to do that. So he bought me up. So at the tender age of 12 years old, he bought me a saxophone, and that's how I started playing.
That is so awesome. Just, following your parents' roots kind of thing, and, seeing your dad progress in his music career and then you starting up. That is just so amazing.
It is. And then I got old enough and good enough, and the tender age of 14, a couple years later, I got good enough that he let me start playing with him at some of these blues clubs and stuff like that. So it was even up to now, 50 years later. I've been playing right at 50 years. I still think about those times if it was yesterday. And I still have that very first saxophone he got me when I was in junior high. I still have it. Still played on gigs.
So has your family always encouraged you to pursue a career in the music industry?
Yeah, pretty much. From as long as I can remember, because my mother, before we lost her, she passed. She was a singer, piano, and played piano. And but we lost her when I was really young, so I didn't get to do anything with her. But I just remember her playing and singing piano when I was a kid. And through the whole 50 years, yeah, family and my own personal musical desire keeps pushing me. It's I joke with people. I said, it's still like that 12-year-old boy the first time. Every time I pick up a saxophone and start playing, I feel like that 12-year-old boy every time. So I'm excited every time I get ready to play.
So from that age until now, how has your influences in music changed, and who are your major influences currently?
They've changed. I wouldn't say they've changed, because the people that when I hear their work, if it affects me a certain way, and it doesn't matter what the genre is, that level of creativity and the musical journey through per piece, per song, whether it be Trent Reznor or Nine Inch Nails, whether it be Prince, whether it be Grover Washington, Stanley Turrentine. I could go through all these artists that are from way back when to there's not very many current artists I really listen to, because there's not that storytelling. I don't hear the storytelling in it. Because when I grew up listening to music, every artist, pop, instrumental, jazz, whatever, they were telling a story in the music, and I just don't hear much of that anymore. I hear a lot of it's like I'd call it cheerleader music, and with the oncoming of the, what do they call that software, auto tune, and a lot of it sounds like
Yes, yes.
it sounds like Alvin and the Chipmunks. I'm just sorry. That's just,
You know what?
you can edit that out if you want to, but that's what it sounds like to me.
No, no, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
With internet the way it is now, and the technology and things like that, artists have this right in their hands, and without a little bit of education, they simply use auto tune, for instance, and because they really don't know exactly what they're doing. They're like
Right.
independent, they're just getting started kind of thing. So I can really see your standpoint there. And let's talk a
And I
little.
don't mean to disparage to artists that are, I guess because so many of them are so much more, I guess, financially successful than I am. I'm just about, if you're gonna, all I know is the artists I grew up listening to were telling me stories. They were taking me on their musical journey, whether they were singing it to me or playing it to me. And nothing's perfect. That's just, I understand that. But being creative and going, oh wow, that is so cool. I just haven't heard that in a long, long, long time. I haven't heard it.
So let's talk a little bit about your performing. How would you describe your onstage personality?
I go in. Somebody said to me, I'm trying to remember what artist it was playing with me at the time, musician, and somebody said something about them, but they're not really getting it. He said, then you got to get them. You have to get the audience and bring them into your world. Don't go into their world. You're the one on stage. You grab them as an artist. You grab them and you bring them into your world and take them on the journey with you. And if it's good and it's captivating, they'll stick with you. And I've been lucky like that for the past 35, 40 years. I got people following me, been following me 35, 40 years. And they have my first CD. They have some of my early cassettes I released. It's a fascinating thing to look back on now, 50 years into it. It's fascinating, and I'm loving it.
Very nice. I know I'm reading your bio here and I see that you were a Marine and you played with the Marine Corps Band. Tell us a little bit about that.
It was that was I was originally, my MOS was different. What was my original MOS? I think it was an infantry. And I auditioned. I had taken my saxophone with me once I got out of basic, and somebody had suggested to me, why don't you audition for the Marine Corps? Then I thought, oh, that'll be okay, because I could read music pretty good because I was right out of high school, but I didn't, just learning how to play and training my ear. And so I went and auditioned and and it worked out. They said, well, we have quite a few saxophone players right now, so you're gonna have to learn how to play clarinet. I was like, what? I don't want to play no darn clarinet, man. I went in there and I started practicing on the clarinet, playing, and stuff like that, and so I made it to the Marine Corps Band. So my 3-year tenure in there came and went, and I still played with bands locally and stuff like that all over Station Camp Pendleton. So it was in the San Diego area. We toured and played a bunch there, and I've toured all over this country and abroad, even after I got out of the Marine Corps.
Okay. What were some of your memorable performances and what made them so memorable?
The first one sticks out in my mind, and I'm an old guy, so there's a lot of memorable, but this one in particular is when I had, here in Dallas, they had a program for artists, and you could apply for a certain amount of money and put on a certain amount of, like a level of shows, like 2 or 3 different shows with the budget you had. And I hired my dad to come from Oklahoma and play a show with me. And that's when I started debuting all my original material. I was trying to remember what year that was. So long ago, I can't remember what year it was. He came down, and I remember this just if it was yesterday, watching this big old brother, my dad, be so proud. And he had this big old smile, and get to play with him and me debuting on my original material and starting my solo career. That is one of the single most memorable. And I've got a lot of memorable moments. Just like last year, did my concert in and the experience of the show. And because people are showing up to listen to my music, they're showing up to listen to me do my music, and that's what every artist dreams of. And I'm still dreaming, even at this age. I'm still, I'm still dreaming. The Coliseums are still dreaming it because I love the music so much.
So in 2021, I guess you were inducted into the Oklahoma Blues Hall of Fame.
Yes, and that's a really really surreal story. My dad got inducted, I want to say 20, 25 years ago, because he used to go every year and go down there and play. But when they inducted him, he'd already passed on. And my big brother slash cousin, who's actually here with me today, helping me with some other stuff. He's a bass player and a drummer, so he plays at blues festival too. He got inducted. Well, what's fascinating about, so more surreal about it, him and I both, his dad got inducted, blues player. He was a drummer, and his name was Harmonica Slim, and he'd already passed on before they inducted him. So me and my cousin, we both got inducted while we were still alive. So we're still here. So it's a fascinating journey. That's the only way I can just describe it. We're still breathing, and I talked about it in the last show about how we are still breathing when we got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
You know, that's so awesome. You can carry on a tradition, down families. Yeah. And that's just amazing. Besides music, what are some of your favorite pastime activities? Maybe some hobbies or something that you enjoy doing?
Love me some sci-fi movies, horror, horror. It's a drama. I love watching movies. I've got tons of Blu-rays and DVDs and streaming stuff going on. If it's good, Star Wars fanatics, and I'll go on it. I'm a Transformer fanatic too. If you were to come to my house, you would think some little child lives here. I got Transformers everywhere. I love to fish and just chill,
You would really like to come to the small town where we have the studio. It's Wabash, Indiana. It's one of the first electric cities, but there's a recycling company, and they take a bunch of recycled metal from either cars and iron and make these it's kind of like a robot, I guess, or
right,
sculptures. And the sculptures are so cool, but they're known for their sculptures all around the world, and it's just it's fascinating because it's in a small little town. But if you Google Wabash Metals, I do believe is what it's called.
Okay.
But they've got little monuments all over town, and it's just so cool. The architect and the sculpture.
Oh, I can't wait! I'm definitely going to look that up. Can't wait to check it out.
So give me 3 words that would describe your personality and why.
Well, it's 4 words, but well, I'm trying to get it down to 3. It's basically just tell me the truth.
Sure.
Because I'm one of those personalities. I can deal with the good, the bad, and the ugly, but I need you to be straight about it. That's just, and I've always been that way. Just because my old man brought me up that way. He would tell me, he would ask me if I did something as a kid. He said, "Now, he was a disciplinarian. He was old school, but he wasn't an abusive But he made tell me the truth, son, so I know whether I've got your back or not. But I got to know the truth. So from a very small kid, I just need to know the real deal so I can make, my decisions, accordingly. So when I'm talking to people, I get caught sometimes just kind of watching them, like I'm staring them dead in the eye, and I hear their lips moving. Now that didn't sound right. Why didn't that sound right?
Now, would you say that's because of the military background? You guys have been
No,
more
it's my dad.
disciplined,
It's
or
my old man,
okay?
my dad. Yeah, he just. And I'm not to put him on I'm like saying he was an angel or nothing. He just said, son, you're going to have to be straight with me. Just be straight with me. Because there's no human being that ever existed will love me the way that man did. And he was hard on me as a kid and stuff like that, but there was a reason for that because I can see it all now. I'm his age when he passed away. I see why he was so hard on me and to let me didn't. I'm the product of an interracial relationship. My mother was this, very beautiful, cute little white Irish girl from Nebraska. My dad was from a country boy, 6'8" brother from Oklahoma, and they met in the 50s. Now, just you can kind of use a lot of your imagination what it was like for them, because it wasn't just being an interracial relationship was going to stick out like anyway. And then here he is, almost 7 feet tall, and this cute little brunette on his arm, and so they had to deal with some really, really challenging times between family and just social stuff in the midst of civil rights movement and stuff like that. And along comes the three of us, me and my brother and my sister. And now he's dealing with these mixed children that have to live in this world or actually in a country at the time. My father still couldn't vote. When I was 8 years, and in a lot of states at the time, it was illegal for them to even be married in several states still in this country at the time. So my dad had to put it in me early in the game. Here's a real life example. And so this kid had beat me up pretty good, older black kid. This beat me up, blooded me up pretty good, and I go home and and I'm crying. My dad's trying to, he's got a rash. He's trying to wipe my face off. And I asked him, I said, Dad, I'm crying. Am I black or white? He said, you're my son. And he wiped my face off and gave me a glass of water, sent me up on my way. He was not going to tell me, you're my black son and you're my white son. No, you're going to have to deal with life because life will keep coming. Sometimes really, really fun, really good, and sometimes it's not going to be so fun. So that's how he raised me. You got to deal with things clear-eyed because life doesn't owe you anything. If he was mad at me, he didn't tell me he didn't owe me nothing. I just want you off my property.
Right. He's just so powerful.
Right.
He more or less trained you into the man you are today. So
He did. So the military was kind of funny to me. Watching some of these kids were kind of weak, crying and stuff when the drill instructors would get on, and I'm laughing. I'm like, you guys, I already had all this discipline stuff before I came here. So it was an interesting experience for me. Very rewarding on so many levels.
So fan interaction is an important part of being an artist and the most rewarding. Any stories you have about fans that stood out to you? Maybe a first autograph story, or maybe the first time a fan noticed you in public?
There's a fan, and I haven't seen him in a while. I was releasing, was it my third album, my second album? It was my second album I was releasing, the Into Deep album. And I was doing a CD release, and he came to my show. And I'm at my table, I'm signing autographs and stuff like that. So this was in 03, 04. This was quite a while ago. And there's been a lot of things that have happened since then. But this one was pretty profound to me because it took everything in me to keep from breaking down. When this guy talked to me, he said, David, I've been following you for a while, and this album I released was a double album. He said, I want you to tell, I want to tell you that your music saved my life. And I was trying to understand. I was trying to deal with that, with him just saying that to me as he's talking to me. I'm thinking, okay. And he elaborated, said, well, I was drinking really, really, really heavy. And I started listening to your music and I stopped drinking. And even to this day, I don't even know how to process that, except for humbling. And you have no idea from 1 minute to the next, if you're lucky enough, how to process what you're doing if you're trying to do something. I'm not trying to save the world. I'm just trying to play music. And for somebody to tell you that is very, very, very humbling and profound and humbling all at the same time.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what to do there. That is kind
Yeah,
of kind of hard. But
yeah.
tell us how you like to interact with your fans and what you have coming up here in the future that fans will enjoy.
Certain albums, that's part of the experience as an entertainer. Because as entertainers, you that's what you long for. You want somebody to appreciate and dig your work and kind of experience what you experience as you're performing it. And the one of the coolest things I've got coming up soon is this Saturday at Southside. There's a world-renowned artist named Rolando Diaz, and there's no exaggeration. This cat's world-renowned. I've known him for 25, 30 years, or this canvas of work while I perform in this theater setting that's just, and it's in the name of the show is called Passion. And we got tickets and stuff available right now on my website, davidcarrjr.com. So if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you can definitely check it this Saturday. And it is, when I tell you it's an incredible show, this piece of work that this guy creates while I'm playing, it's unbelievable. So I'm really excited about that. Of course, we all got shut down and things put on hiatus. This will be our second show since we came out of the pandemic. And so we're really looking forward to it. He's a great guy. He does so much for people in general. He's an incredible artist, and he does so many things just to help. I'll call him sometimes. I say, man, what are you doing? He said, man, I just picked up a bunch of water in my trunk of my car and taking it to these people that are homeless down here and trying to give them some water. You just don't tell him when you call him. That's the kind of person he'll be taking a bunch of meals down there. And he doesn't ask for any kind of accolades. He doesn't really talk about it unless, he's actually in the middle of it and he'll tell you what's going on. He's just a really, really cool guy. He's a Cuban artist. Really cool cat. And I enjoy working because he's extraordinarily talented and good people. So I'm looking forward to that this coming Saturday. And I got another single I'm going to drop here pretty soon, too. So, and I understand you've been playing a couple of my singles I've released this year so far, right?
Yes, yes. I knew
Yeah.
Groove Edition's probably one of your newest ones, right?
Yeah, it's the latest one I just dropped. That's the title track for the album. And there's 5 more tracks to drop. And
we're excited
I'm
to
sure
hear.
Jill will be informing you, as soon as I drop the next one. I just got to decide which one to drop. Because it's kind of different for me because I have 14 albums, releases to my name, albums, full projects. And nowadays it's more just kind of do a single at a time because the whole CD thing is kind of suspect. I sure hate the industry kind of took that off the table because that's a lot of my lifeblood was just be able to sell CDs out of the trunk of my car, so to speak. So we rely on the streaming part, and so you do what you do, keep surviving in this business,
Well, I want to thank you so much, David, for taking time out to do this interview with us here on Unique Beatz Radio. You're a great new addition to our lineup of artists, and we're honored to air your new song, Groove Edition, here on the Parker Radio Show. You can find out more about David Carr Jr. at davidcarrjr.com for updates, concerts, and events. And again, thank you, David.
Thank you very much, Josh. I appreciate you, man.
This is D-Shot Renard, and you're listening to the Parker Radio Show. It's that home with the good stuff, home with the new music everybody wanna listen to, so tell me what you really gonna do. When we got DJ Parker on the ones and twos, D-Shot on the beat, so you know we can't lose. Check me out on Instagram at D-Shot Renard, and also check out D-Shot_1 on TikTok for some more daily raps and freestyles.